Welcome back, everybody, to Cool People Doing Cool Things. I'm so excited to introduce another cool person in my life, Ryann Gillen. Ryan, we've been friends since what, 2020?
Ish.
2021
Yeah.
ish?
21,
Yeah,
I think.
I think it was 21. We'll have to talk about the origin story, but
Yeah.
it's there's so many cool things about you that we could probably spend hours.
Oh,
And I think, though, one of the coolest things I want to start with today is your journey from corporate to seven figures to then this reinvention of who you are, like just your story. So can we start there?
Sarah's like, you have 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Go. Well, first of all, thank you. I receive that compliment and I am delighted to be here. And you just, my heart. So, my story. So, I had a 15-year corporate career. I grew up selling radio advertising. I sold every kind of advertising under the sun and had a kid in 2017. And I didn't realize now, this is like retroactively, it totally tipped a domino in my life, right? When I had a kid, I was 32, 33. So, I was not young in regards to society standards, right? And I just was like, holy shit, what am I doing with my life? But also, I was the breadwinner. I think at the time I was probably making six figures in my corporate career. So it wasn't like, oh my God, I want to have a kid and I want to be a stay-at-home mom. Like that was not my heart. It was there has to be a different way to do this. Like this can't be it.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and I remember the day that question came in. And so that was the exit of corporate. And so, yeah, that Davis was born in 2017. I think I started the business in 2018. I think I made like $300. And then in 2019 is when it's when I got pregnant with Georgia. And I just like decided, hey, she's due in June and I'm not coming back here. And so I've got this six-figure career, six figures in bonus. I'm leading a sales organization. I'm in my dream job and I'm like, I ain't coming back. And so obviously grew that business as a side hustle, exited corporate America, get into entrepreneurship. I'm teaching sales to new entrepreneurs. And I wind up in a coaching program with a woman who I believe has my dream life, right? She has retired her husband. She's making millions of dollars. Her kids are just everywhere with her, or her child is with her everywhere all of the time, but she's still very corporate, right? Like she literally, we just took corporate America. We took her out of her office and we dumped her into her home, is ultimately. And I did quite literally the same thing, right? Like I just took corporate Ryann and dumped her into entrepreneurship, which means I overworked. I took clients I didn't want. I did a lot of crazy, weird, and wild shit. Like I just recreated my corporate career. I was busy all the time, on calls all the time. And so that was really where I think I like to say the cracks in the foundation, the visible cracks in the foundation, when I was like, something is like wrong here. And I'm winning at this point. Like, let's not leave that part of the story out. Like, my business is growing. I went from $0 or $300 to $118, 18,000 to 530,000 to 1.2 million.
Which is awesome. Oh, I meant to look up that stat of how many women make it to seven figures. Isn't it? Women business owners, it's like less than 1%.
It is. It is less than
Yeah.
1%, but it's actually less than 10% that make it to six, Sarah.
Yeah. Is it like, yeah. I remember they call it
So
the 6% club.
yeah, well,
So
and like I said, and I point that out because it's great and it's all well and good. I didn't sustain it, and I haven't repeated it. And I don't say that to as a martyr or to make excuses. I just like I want to point that out. Like even if you're only making not only if you're making $100,000 a year in your business, like you were in the top 10% of women business owners, like and that's huge. So
yeah.
please don't discount that. Because again, I learned that like the seven-figure club, it's not magical. It's not the same. It is the same exact experience, just with a different emotional capacity to hold it, right? Like that's
Right.
ultimately what I learned. So going back to my story, I wind up then becoming business partners with this business coach. And so I was teaching sales to new entrepreneurs. Then I grow a sales training company with this partner, big part of the rapid growth, the monetary growth. And it took me, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months to be like, again, something is off here. I'm making more money than I've ever made. I've gained 60 pounds. I am miserable. My marriage is falling apart. Like I have no life outside of work. And I notice neither does my business partner. But she is on the internet telling everybody about her entrepreneurial freedom, and she's existing on Doritos and Diet Coke and working 80 hours a week
Right.
and text messaging her team on weekends and holidays for sales. Everything about
Yeah.
corporate America I hated. And she was lying about it on the internet.
Yeah.
My version of the story, right? I never did sign an NDA. I can actually, no, I don't know, but either way,
I wondered
um,
about that. I was like, I
nope,
wonder. Yeah.
no, I never said there was never any kind of NDA or
Yeah.
anything at all.
Interesting.
Um,
That surprises me, actually.
Well, was we we can have an offline conversation about that because I have a lot of
Okay.
theories about what was going on there.
Yeah.
I think there were so many problems in her business at that time that
Mhm.
I became small. Like, I'm not a litigious person. I'm not actually going to
Yeah.
come after you in any way, shape, or form. I would say, I mean, everything that I say now, I've said out loud, I've said in text
Yeah.
messages, like it all exists somewhere. I have nothing to
Right.
hide. And that's the fun part of this, right? Like, when you tell the truth, you have nothing to hide.
Yes. And that's
So
your
I'm like,
new that's
come at me, bro.
your brand. That's you.
Yeah.
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 So anyway, get into this business partnership. And that was kind of the beginning of this is now the third time in my life I got exactly what I wanted. And I hate it. And actually, I hate it
Mhm.
more. And I hate it more because it's bigger, because there's more pressure, because I'm now in shame and guilt. Because why the fuck can't you just be happy with what you have?
Mhm.
And now
Uh-huh.
there's people watching. And I mean, it was very, very interesting what happened inside of me. So that really started me getting into the energy work. That's when I met Stacy B and started our work together. It's funny. I used to tell the story as like, it got so much worse before it got better. And it's so funny, our stories, right? Where I'm like,
Yeah.
oh no, we went on a wild ride. And I can now look back and see like over the past 3 years, how every single one of those things had to happen to bring me here, right? So one of the things that
Yes.
happened is I wound up getting a divorce and filing for bankruptcy in order to keep my house. That was just the smartest move. I'd made a bad bet on an event that didn't cash out, that just put me in a really precarious place from a debt perspective. And then when I was getting divorced and all these other things, it just was the smartest financial move in the moment. And I
Right.
had so much shame about it, like so much shame about it. But I honestly know that was the only way to heal my money shame.
Right. That's what I'm thinking as you're saying that is it's been times in my life and business when things are like a low sales month or something doesn't go. It's like you finally realize like, wait, what am I like this is actually okay. And then you can build from there because the fear is gone.
Yes. Well, I had that realization, Sarah, as I was prepping for this next campaign that I'm getting ready to run about like the business rules I no longer follow. And I was telling my story a little bit when I was like, wait a fucking second. I grew a 6-figure business while giving 40 hours a week to a 6-figure job.
Right.
And again, it's almost like still my own shit, right? Like, but somehow when I left the job and it became my full-time job, then it required more than a few hours a day. Cause I'm
Hmm.
pregnant, have a toddler and running a sales, like a $4 million sales organization,
Right.
so it wasn't
Right.
like I didn't have a full plate. Like we were heavily involved in the church at that time. We were in a small group. We were volunteering. Like we were in
Yes.
that season of life. And I somehow managed to grow a 6-figure business in the margins.
Yeah. And that I see that all the time when people leave corporate or leave nonprofit or whatever they're doing. And there's like this, it's like kind of like you said, recreating the wheel when we
Yeah.
really don't have to.
No.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at. Like, that's the end of the journey was like,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, something is really off here. And so I just started pulling things apart. Some of it felt like in the moment, Sarah, it felt like it was happening to me. I will not lie to you
Hmm.
and tell you
Yeah.
that anything
Yeah.
other than that, like, it was like, oh my God, what have I done in life
Yeah.
for this? But
Yeah.
on the other side of it, it's like, oh, like I'm happier than I've ever been. I'm healthier than I've ever been. I'm in a relationship that I didn't even think I knew I wanted. Like my
Uh-huh.
kids are thriving, my clients are winning, and like it's all so good and it's so simple and it's so good.
I love that for you. So
Thank you.
let's connect the dots to now then. So your brand is the Uncensored Self. How did
Yes.
that name, what's the origin story of that name?
You're going to love this.
Yes.
So the Uncensored brand was the brainchild back in 2017. No, like my
Interesting.
LLC has always been Uncensored Consulting. So Jessica, who's my marketing person, who
Yeah.
so Jess and I worked together at the agency that I left.
Hmm.
And one day we were driving from Kansas City to Warrensburg, Missouri to go to a career fair because we're running a marketing agency. We need creatives. Jess went to school there. She's a creative. So we get in the car. This is, yeah, legit 2017. And I'm telling her what I want to do. She developed the first brand and like we
Oh.
brainstormed the name and everything in that. So
Yeah.
it was like my email address is live life uncensored. Like it was all about living life outside the lines. I didn't even fucking know what that meant at the time, Sarah.
I
Like
was gonna
at the
say.
time, it was living life outside of the lines. Like for me, it was as a woman, where it was like you have to choose between being a mom. Like it was some of what I talk about today. But again,
Hmm.
I was more pro career and like equality in the house. Like that's more what it was about, right?
Right.
Like, and it's evolved very much. So anyway, my
Yes.
first program was the Uncensored Sales program. I had the Uncensored Sales Accelerator. That was the whole brand. And so then when I
Yeah.
I partnered with Kelly, we had Social Sellers Academy. So when I retired all the uncensored programs. And then I even built a brand. I wrote my book, The 100K Sales Method, and built a brand around that.
That's where I
But
found you. I
then
found that book and then
yes.
found you and DM'd you and was like, "We need to talk." That's how we became
Yeah.
friends. Yeah.
Yes, and that would have been around the time that I had gone. I
Mhm.
went to Allie Brown's event because that's what she said. I was tagged in something of Allie's too,
Yes.
and then my book and something along that. So anyway, so that was the uncensored brand, and then socials. Go ahead.
I think that is how I found you because Allie, you know that I stalk
Yeah,
everything you do. You probably showed up on Allie's page because I had known Kelly Roach of her.
yeah,
That's probably how I found you. Oh,
yeah,
that's so wild. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So that was the uncensored brand, and so then that got
Yeah.
retired, and then the 100K sales method again. And this 100K sales method was born out of an idea of how is the business not dependent on me.
Interesting.
Because
Okay.
again, if I had a methodology, if I had IP, if I had a process, I could teach other people my process. And again, that was
Mhm.
how I was told, right? Wealth is built. You
Right.
grow businesses, you hire somebody else to go the business, you take your profits, you dump them into another business or whatever
Right.
that looks like for you. Like that was the model. And that was the only concept I really had of business
Right.
at the time. So that's where that brand came from. But then it ebbed and flowed. And then
Mm.
got into the marketing side, right? Whereas content and conversations was a big part of it, the connection agency, all of those things. And then I was on a walk over at Hawk Ridge Park, which is right by my house. It was the Wednesday before Thanksgiving in 2024. And I'm walking the dogs. And I got like just the most clear download of like, you have to go back to the uncensored brand.
I love that.
Like, it was always about that, and so that's where the uncensored self was born, right? Like, at the time, I kind of called it a journey of self-discovery. I don't know if I love that because I don't know if I love the word discovery, but either way, that's what it
Yeah.
was. So at the time, in 2024, which gosh, feels like a lifetime and yesterday at the same time, that's where the uncensored self came from. Where again, coming back to that same idea of like stop. And the tagline at the time, and I still say it like often on the podcast and stuff, is like, who are you when you're not being who the world taught you to be?
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think you're a good example too of business. I always say business is a portal for self-discovery. And
Oh my
so
God.
me moving into more marketing and podcasting, people ask me sometimes why I left the spiritual work. I'm like, "Oh no, it is still very spiritual." And even I see marketing and podcasting as us sharing our soul's work. And so
Yes.
that's a whole side tangent, but watching you become more of yourself. What was I saying the
Yeah.
other day? I saw a picture of you dressed in corporate
Yeah.
stuff and you looked
Yeah.
great,
Thank
but
you.
I could see even in the last 2 years you going, well, like when the invitation is becoming the uncensored self, your life is going to give you those opportunities. Side
Yes.
note, the first time I worked on money mindset, I manifested out of the fear a $5,000 tax bill that I'd done my taxes wrong. But again, it's like that helped me confront some
Mm-hmm.
fears that were going on so that I could hold the frequency of talking about money mindset. So I feel like,
Yeah.
how do you feel like in the last 2 years since that download, like you've come home to yourself and you still are, it's
Yeah.
a
Of
process.
course. Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit in 10
Yes.
minutes or less? I'm just kidding.
And like, God, I don't even know where to start. Like, it really was about like, it wasn't, I want to say it wasn't as intentional as it's going to sound when I go back, right? And explain it to you. Cause that's what the human brain does. It makes sense of things. At the time, the decision was like, I'm going to do this the way I want to do this. Like, I'm smart enough. I know enough. I have enough skills. Like, it was a trial by fire of self trust. Like, I was
Yeah.
literally building something from nothing, even in because you can say I've done that before, right, Ryan? You've done that before, but I didn't. I took my corporate career and I built something out of that,
Hmm.
right? Like, I took the skills that I had. I had 20 years of experience. The reason why I was able to grow a business so quickly and so confidently is because of the conviction I had about the product. I was the product. I'd been living the product. I'd had companies invest hundreds of thousands of dollars in my training. I have an MBA for fuck's sake, right? Like, I felt very convicted in the
Yeah.
years of knowledge I had. And so then to turn around and build something out of nothing, of something I don't have years of knowledge about. And I'm not actually myself, like I'm like at 89% sold on the concept, but I know that like there's something here for me. And so that was a huge shift. And so I had to
Yeah.
quite literally build the conviction. Like I had to rebuild my conviction in myself. So when you say coming home to yourself was, okay, what do I believe in? What's important to me? What can I say over and over and over again without blinking? Right. Like that's where people talk about mirror work. I've done a
Yes.
lot of mirror work this year, Sarah, like looking
Yeah.
myself in the eyes and talking to like, that's how I built trust with myself was in that. So it was about that. Like this idea is my idea and it is okay if other people don't like my ideas. It is okay if
Right.
other people don't like me. It is okay if
Ooh.
other people don't agree with me, like, that's been the
Yeah.
journey. Like, I'm okay. Am I human? Like, I say this often, like, when you cut me, I bleed, right? Like, I'm not immune to the feeling of being disliked and the
Right.
physiological response that comes with rejection, but what you disliking me no longer impacts whether or not I like me.
I feel like that's so powerful. And I will say, when I watch you, I can see the word conviction coming through, like, I can feel it,
Mm.
and
Yeah,
that word has come up so much in 2026, like and I actually have a
yeah.
card deck that my friend Emily gave me, and it's kinda more made for kids, it's not oracle cards, it's, like, different words that you play with, and I have pulled it probably 10 times this year, and 9 times out of 10, it's the conviction card, and I'm shuffling, and so
I get you.
that's I know. I feel like that's the energy right now. There's a lot of people, not on purpose, but we're all kind of going, well, what does really matter to me right now? And if people aren't
Right.
doing that, they're out of alignment. It feels like shit.
I'm giggling. I'm reaching for my phone because I'm going to tell you. So I have a notes. This is fun for you, Sarah. I've never told you this. I started scheduling thinking time for myself.
I need to do that.
Yeah. And so very intentional thinking time. And this is funny because this is an old school thing, thinking about coming full circle. I have thinking time pulled up, so I won't forget. Coming full circle. So I learned about Brooke Castillo actually had the idea of super thinking. Brooke Castillo ran the life coach school,
Mhm.
which I believe she sold. But she had a podcast once about super thinking, meaning she spent time thinking about her clients and thinking about her business and like
Oh.
really intentionally sitting down and thinking on purpose and not in like a annual planning session, but like what do I think about my clients? What do I think about my offers? What do I think about the marketing platforms? What do I think about the state of the economy? What do I think about people wanting to buy my stuff and thinking on purpose about the things that we want to have? So, anyway, this is not a new concept to me. It just
Mhm.
got away over the years. And so, recently started listening to a podcast of a woman who's a student of Brooks, and she was talking about that. She calls it self coaching. That does
Mm.
not resonate to me, but she does a lot of, she's like, no, I self coach every day. Like I sit down every single day and I examine the doubts and the fears and the bullshit in my head and I dissect it and I understand it so I can change it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that I don't resonate as much with that. I don't think it is necessary to go digging around in our negativity.
Or
That
like
is the
fixing
reason.
it. Like
Right.
the problem to fix instead of
Right.
tell me what you were going to say because I cut you off on that. You don't think we
No,
need
no,
to
no,
dig
you're
around.
absolutely right. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I got to go find the problem so I can fix the problem makes us an energetic match to the problem.
Right.
But I loved the concept of sitting down and on purpose thinking. So anyway, I started calling it thinking time and then putting it on my calendar a couple days a week, like literally as an appointment. Like I'm going to sit down and think on purpose. And then I've been making a list of what are the things that I want to think about in my thinking time, right? So when I
Oh,
have
I
a good
love
idea, I
that.
write it down. So what I just wrote down and the reason what started me on this was what matters to me? What is my philosophy? And what do I feel people need to know or hear about what I know?
Ooh.
So it's like it was just like a mirror of the question what you just asked. Like, what am I convicted about? Like, what is
Yes.
something that like, and I'm no longer the type of person that like, I think you're stupid if you feel differently than me. I just, like I said, if you feel differently than me, that doesn't change the way I feel.
Yes.
And so like,
Yes.
I'm going to spend some time. It's actually my calendar for Friday this week to think about that. Like, what is the thing that you can
Yeah.
look me in the face and be like, actually, I vehemently disagree. And I'm like, you are totally valid in that
Right.
instead of, oh shit, why?
Right. I heard a quote, I think it was Pierce Morgan, but I don't know
Okay.
much about him, so I don't know. But he said, how arrogant is it to think that the whole world has to think the same way as you? And, going from DC, which is a
Yeah.
very, progressive area to moving to Missouri, was actually a gift for me because I was so convicted in things that I don't even necessarily believe now, but I was like, "Oh,
Same.
people can genuinely have different opinions about politics and religion and life and values, and it doesn't freaking matter, and I can still
Yeah.
like you as long as you're not being hateful." And
Yeah.
I feel like not niching, but focusing on what I'm hearing you say is you're rebuilding your business only in the way that feels good to you
Yeah.
and what matters to you. And if other people have a problem with that, they can have a problem with it. It doesn't impact you anymore. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And again, not in an arrogant way that like, share your opinion with me. I want to hear it.
Right.
But again, if it doesn't align when it comes out of your mouth, it's a no for me, right?
Right.
Like, and again, I'm a lot like you in that way. But where you felt like I had very strong convictions around business, right? Like there was a
Hmm.
right way and a wrong way to do business. There was a good way and a bad way to do business. There was an honest and, there was integral and dishonest. Like I had a lot of
Yes.
opinions about that
Yes.
I've had to dismantle in order to build my business the way that I am now.
That's so interesting. How do you feel like you're doing marketing and sales differently from the 100K method? Because I've seen the evolution and I always mirror this
Yeah.
back to you. You as a person haven't changed. Like you're still the genius
Yes.
that you bring.
Thank you.
I think it is the beliefs around it, but what would you say? Like, let's say you're having a convo with somebody that went through Social Sellers
Yeah.
Academy, and they're like, "What are you doing now? What's the difference?"
Oh gosh. I think the biggest difference now is it's not a it's not a to get anymore, right? Like everything that
Yeah,
I taught about sales and marketing were these are the things you have to do to get clients. You have to
that's
go get
right.
them, right? You've got to go get them. You've got to go out, you've got to find them, you've got to call them, you've got to build relationships with them, you got to network with them, you got to get in front of them, they need to see your message 427 times before they'll buy anything from you. You've got to go get them, you've got to get them to pay attention and then maybe they'll buy something from you.
Oof, that made me like I had like a wave of anxiety of that's so much.
But
Yeah.
that's like so that was my conviction of like, go get them.
Mhm.
Go get them. And if you just follow this formula, it'll work, right? That was very
Mhm.
much. And now I see this as I create clients. I'm the creator. I create value. I create a frequency. I create a message. I create ideas and I make those ideas available for purchase.
I love that.
Very much like you've been talking about, you see like podcasting is like the soul's work. Like I've started seeing like content creation, like this is my art. Like when I was a child,
Right.
I wanted to write, and it's not a coincidence that I wound up in a fucking radio studio at the age of 21 with a mic that looks something like this in my
Right.
face.
Yes.
So my art is words. This is my
Yeah.
art. So it was no longer I am creating to get something. I'm creating my art. And the people who
Oh,
resonate
love
with
it.
my art will pay attention to my art. But if you guys, and I'm not a super like creative person in the form of like real art, but everything you've ever read, studied, or understood about art is art. You can't get somebody to get a piece of art. They look at a piece of art and they do or they don't. Did you
Ah,
feel something when you looked at it or not?
that's so true.
Did it move you? Did you feel something? Did you connect to the person who created it in some way? Did you connect to the feeling that it gave in your body? Like my
Yes.
art is just words.
And it's life changing. I
Oh,
felt guided before when I was getting ready for this to share how I got to work more deeply in your recent work. So
yeah.
I you and I had a coffee chat about a year ago.
Yeah.
We were just catching up, and I thought I was doing okay. And we got on the call, and there was something about it that I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm not okay." And you're like,
Yes.
"Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I don't think so." And I was like,
Yeah.
"I think I need to join business therapy." I knew you had launched it.
Yeah.
And just like art, well, I'm very intuitive. And I had skimmed the sales page, but I was like, "Oh, I just know that this is the
Yeah.
space that I need to be in."
Mhm.
And I felt dumb, actually. It's probably not a politically
Oh,
correct word, but I was like, I've been doing internal, like inner work since 2005. My spiritual awakening was in 2011. I help other people with alignment. And I felt like I should have it by now, right?
oh,
And what happened was exactly what you talk about. It's similar to I've had a few iterations of this,
yeah.
of like you realize what you created. You call it the golden handcuffs in your
Yeah.
podcast. Like
Yes, yes,
I was
yes.
like, I can't undo this, but I'm not
Mhm.
happy. But the biggest realization, Ryan, was not much has changed in my business.
Right.
It was all about me and my
Mm.
mindset and my energy and saying yes when I didn't want to, and it's been such a cool journey in the last year. First, to let go of the shame that, like, you don't just, like, wake up to energy and alignment and, like, you've got
Right.
it. It's not like a degree that you earn, it's a practice, and I was still
Yes.
practicing, but I was missing that piece of I was people pleasing a lot. I was
Yeah.
doing everything for everybody else and really fell into a unhealthy servant role instead of
Mhm.
we talked about this in your mastermind. It's I don't know if you call it our
Yeah.
community alumni group. Instead of I was trying to fix problems for people instead of collaborating. And that
Yes.
energy of constantly fixing, it's like even when you fix it, then if your brain's looking for the next problem, you're never going to feel good. And
Yes.
so I've just really loved being in your world
Right.
and being in your community now. So I went through business therapy. You have a few
Yeah.
different things that you do. And then once you go through a program, one of Ryan's programs, you get to be in
Yes.
this like alumni community and we meet and just chat each week and it keeps
Yeah.
me in the work. It keeps me
Yeah.
accountable to
Mm.
the work. So
Yeah.
I wonder, can you talk a little bit about because you still talk about marketing and sales, but it's
Sure.
much more than that. It's like identity work, it's intuition,
Yeah.
it's energy, like the overview of kind of the different facets of that. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I love you. Thank you for that. I
Yeah, me
receive
too.
all of that. And it's just been so fun to see your evolution as well. Because I think that's what surprises
Yeah.
people. There's two things I want to say about that before I answer your question. I think how little changes externally, and we feel massively different on the inside, right? Like when you
Yes.
tell me about the journey you saw me go through from 2021 to now 2026, what you saw for like on the inside, I have like this Phoenix story where like I burned my
Yeah.
whole life to fucking ground. Like what's coming through is the butterfly example. Like I was goo. It was
Yeah.
bad. And you're like, nope, didn't see that, right? So I think that's important when we start doing the energy work, like your subconscious it drives 95% of what you do. That's actually why
Right.
the work is so important. It's why coaching is so important. And I've just really started owning this lately. Like find me a professional athlete or a high level professional that isn't having their brain worked on. Like if you're
Right.
not working on your thoughts, if you're not working on your energy, if you're not working on the subconscious, you can't see your subconscious shit, Sarah.
Right.
It's
Right.
fucking subconscious. Like you can
Right.
see how it's showing up in your world, right? Like the 3D is a projection, right? Your reality is a projection of your subconscious, but like what is it that's not clicking is very hard to see if someone isn't supporting you. So, and
Right.
again, whatever kind of coaching that is or therapy, like I'm not like my way is the best way. That's very important. I don't believe that. But like
Right.
if you're not bouncing your thoughts and ideas off of someone else, you are not playing at 100%
Right. I say that,
because
and
it's impossible.
yeah. Yeah. I say you scratch my brain, like when we're
Yeah.
working on stuff,
Yeah.
especially on your group work. It's like you'll say something, and I'm just like, I've never even thought to think that way. And it's like,
Right.
it does. That collaboration. And I think that's another piece of the online space that it can get so siloed sometimes.
Mhm.
But we need not just or online, but you're
Yeah.
right. And I think too, because the coaching world, every industry has their thing, right? But I think sometimes coaches, there's like an imposter syndrome, but like we forget how valuable it is,
Right. Right. Because
especially
it
finding the
comes
right
natural
fit.
to you.
Right.
It's just like an athlete that forgets that people can't do what they do. Like there are
Right.
people out there who can dunk a basketball and it just doesn't occur to them that you can't
Right.
because they
Yeah.
can. So no, I think it's like anything that comes easily and naturally to you, you forget the value of it and you get caught up and it's true in all industries, Sarah, and that's
Yes.
the beauty of my work and it's a commitment that I'm very committed to. Like I don't just coach coaches, except actually I only have a handful of coaches in my world.
Hmm.
Most of my clients are business owners like Sarah. I mean, and yes, you do some coaching, but like your
Yeah.
your media company is what you really focus on. And then I work with a lot of realtors. I work with women in corporate roles and different things
Yeah.
like that. Every industry has that thing where when you guys chat amongst each other in your silos, y'all, me as well, right? You have your shit. And then you're
Yes.
like, oh gosh, people think that. And I think realtors are the example. Like they are under the impression that nobody likes them because they
Aw.
go to they go to their sales meetings and they listen to other people talk about, well, I interviewed, like somebody interviewed me and they told me that they think we're ripping people off, or I saw this post on social media. And then all of a sudden, because universal law works 100% of the time, you're like, fuck, people don't like me. So I have to not only convince you that what I do is valuable, now I got to get you to like my industry, right? And but I tell
Oh,
clients all the time, from the outside looking in, I don't see any of that. Any of that.
no.
I have purchased 3 homes, right? Like anything that you're talking about that you think I care about as somebody hiring a realtor, I don't fucking think about. And I think
Yes.
as coaches, and we do that same thing. We're like, oh my God, they're so worried about my certifications and they're so worried about how many years that I've been doing it. And I mean, I think I have served, I don't know, 40 or 50 people in the last 18 months. Nobody has asked me for a certification or how long I've been doing this. In fact,
Yes.
most people, when I tell them that this iteration of the brand is 18 months old, are like, say what?
Right. Yeah,
What?
because it doesn't look
Serious?
like it. Yeah. But you've jumped
Right.
the timelines because you've done so much inner work that
Right.
that's how it works too. And I
Yeah.
think side tangent, something that bothers me in the business and marketing world is I've been hearing people say, remember growth takes time. And there's a little bit of truth in that, right? Like if I plant a
Uh-huh.
seed, I'm not getting the tomatoes
Right.
till later, right? But people don't when we say that, we actually limit
Yeah.
the like it's like the U squared by Price Pritchett. Have you read that book?
Yeah.
It's like just
Yes.
quantum leaps can happen.
The first
But
time
I
somebody handed
yeah.
me that book was when I was 21 years old. I was in radio advertising.
Oh my gosh. If I had read that at 21, it's a brain changer in my
Yeah, no,
opinion.
but
Yeah.
it what like I wasn't ready. I was like, this
Yeah.
is fucking weird. What are you guys doing?
That's hilarious. I love that. I read it in 2020, which is a really great time to read a
Yeah.
book like that. So,
Hallie Brown mailed me that book when I went to Iconic the first time.
oh, that's hilarious.
So I own a copy of the book that she mailed when I
Allie's
bought
gonna
my
be like,
Iconic.
"Why do you talk about me in every episode?" I do. It's so funny. That's hilarious.
It's like,
Oh man.
but I can't tell my story without Kelly. And like, there's a woman,
Yeah,
Lauren Golden, who was actually kind of what got me into the online space. Like, I can't tell a story without either one of
yeah.
them
I get
because
that.
they are such pivotal
Yeah.
milestones, right? Meeting this person changed my world this way, right? Like meeting
Right.
Kelly changed my world this way. Meeting Stacey B changed my world this way. Like
Right.
it would not be my story without it. And so if she's
Right.
part of your origin story, she's part of your origin story.
She doesn't know it though. Well, she
Yeah,
does
she's
now
going
because of
to.
she does. Oh, that's so funny. What was I gonna ask you? We were going somewhere.
Well, we were talking about industries and inside of
Oh, that's
industries
right.
and
And real estate. No, it's funny. I was thinking about that when we had our call yesterday about you were saying, or maybe I was listening to your podcast. You were talking about what people think about their real estate agents. And I was thinking the first house we
yeah,
sold, I was in so much fear
right,
that the agent was great and she is in my world, but so many problems happened.
right.
And come to find out she was in a fear-based space too. Whereas the last few houses we've bought and sold, I was confident about it and went with it,
Yeah,
an agent that's a friend of ours that is just really good and it was like seamless. So it's
right,
like, it's so interesting, but I wasn't thinking, like you said, what brokerage are you at? Or when I'm looking
right,
for a coach, I'm not, what certifications do you have? Like those
right.
things. And I really had to let that go because I went to Johns Hopkins and Washington University and I used to
Yeah,
be really cocky about, I still am sometimes. Like if I hear somebody say, oh, they graduated summa cum laude, I'm like, I did too. So my ego is still there a little bit,
yeah, of
but
course.
yeah, and then giving up my medical license as a therapist, like, I undid a lot of that and then realized,
Yeah,
like, oh, most of the mental health world, it does matter. As a doctors, it matters, but it's
yeah,
more about what's the right fit. Where am I at today and what do I need? And I
yeah,
think if people ask that question, it's a really great way to come back to the process that you and I are both talking about, creating a
yeah.
life and a business that actually fucking feels good.
Right. Well, and it is actually yours, which circles all the way back to a question I think you asked me a long time ago, which was like, tell me about like your work and the way that you work with clients and kind of the way that I describe the work I do. So I basically kind of put a whole umbrella under this. I call it the energy game because to me it
Yeah.
encompasses intuition and spirituality and universal law. And but like you could pull quantum physics in, right? We could pull in psychology if we wanted to too, right? Like a lot of positive psychology.
Yes.
So to me, I was like, to me, this is all about the energy game. Like that is the easiest way to put it. You know, we can tangibly feel energy. What you put out, you get back. How are you feeling? Like that word just felt good to me. So I took it all and I put it under an umbrella. umbrella. And basically the way that I teach it is like the mind game is the way the rest of the world operates, right? The way I teach my clients, the way we work on operating is we play the energy game, right? We put our attention on our energy, on our thoughts, feelings, actions, and identity, and we put our attention there and we create from that space, right? Instead of
Yes.
from the old way of, business and getting, right? Like you're asking me about marketing. What do I view as different? It's like getting versus creating,
Right.
right? Like we are no longer forcing outcomes, right? We're creating a life we love. And so
Right.
I teach it, like I call it the energy game, and I teach it through business therapy. And so business therapy, a client dubbed me her business therapist, which I thought was beautiful and perfect. And it just kind of, again, it was another, like she said it and it was cute and it was fun, but it was like another download that was like, okay, it's
Yes.
time. Like,
Yes.
and that's when business therapy was born. And it started with like the energetics of success and winning. Like that was kind of the point. Like, how do I become an energetic match to success and to winning? And it's still very much that, but it's literally an evolution. And I'm going to launch it again in Q3 and it's going to be so good.
I'm so excited.
It's more of a mastermind, but it's for people who are already successful. And it's how do we enjoy what we built?
Right.
Right? Like, how do I hit the goals that I set for myself and enjoy doing it?
Yes.
So it's not just how do I make more money? And that's a big part of what I was missing for me on my journey in like coaching and in the space was everybody like, and this is my energy, right? Like everybody was like, how to make a bajillion dollars, how to make a bajillion dollars. And that was all well and good, but it still very much put the power outside of me. And
Ooh.
so I very intentionally, and Sarah, in our relationship together, you're going to have to hold me accountable to this a few times. I don't want to be the person that's like, here's the screenshot of my Stripe. This is why you should want to work with me. And like, I do think it's valuable and important. I like
Right.
knowing what's going on with the coaches and the mentors and where they're at in their journey. So I'm not saying never talk about money, but the people who are like, I've made this many millions of dollars, this is why my ideas are valid.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't ever want to be that person. And
Mm.
I, again, never say never because I would have told you 5 years ago I wasn't going to be this person. But I think it was my obsession and addiction, if you will, to money that made the journey longer and harder than it needed to be. Because I could pull
Oh, yeah.
apart my attachments to relationships and my body and visibility and friendships and needing to be liked. Like I could pull all of those things apart, right?
Right.
And see them for what they were and understand them and move through them and develop new perspectives. But like money was so deeply rooted for me that the
Right.
more I focused on manifesting money and making more money and building something bigger because then I would have more money, the worse it got and the less money I made.
Yep. Yep.
And so, and I'm saying all this like business therapy, I'll get better. The more I do this, I'll get better at explaining like, I don't want my clients to make less money. I want money to be the least interesting fucking thing on the list.
Being in business therapy, what I gathered from it was the money is the byproduct of the
Yes.
joy that you're doing. And that's
Yes.
what, when I say nothing's changed, a lot has changed. I've grown. I'm in the process of hiring and
Yeah.
I'm niching into podcasting and content creation. But the difference is when I'm doing the work each day, it feels so fucking good.
Yeah.
Clients just land in. I'm having a good time. And we talk about this too in your world of like, the funniest part is the more I've started to feel good, the more that when I
Yeah.
don't feel good, I'm like, fuck this. Why am I out of
Yes.
alignment? It's like worse,
Yes.
but that's good because now it's like the baseline has moved. And I
Yeah.
am making probably from last year to this year double right now what I was last year at this time. And yeah, it's just, so it's, and that's, I think you still have one of your money, maybe it's not still out there, but
Yeah.
you talk about like, well, what is it? You said recently to me, loving the product. Like, you remember
Yes. Oh
saying,
yeah. Yeah.
what is that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So talking about marketing, right? Like
Mhm.
we were having a conversation about marketing and it was like, if you just become obsessed with the product, right? Create a product that you love, a product that you're proud of, a product that you've poured your heart and soul into in a good way, right? Like the clients will take care of themselves. The biz, like, like let that be God's job, source's job, spirit's job, whatever you believe in, right? Like that's what
Yeah.
we've really been working on. Like when you become so obsessed with the product, whether the product is you, whether the
Mhm.
product is an offer, it's both, spoiler alert, but becoming so obsessed with that you are a walking, talking magnet for people, opportunities,
Yes.
invitations. And I will give you an example. There, my kid plays competitive baseball, and one of the moms, we connected on Instagram, and she's been following me. And she text messaged me this morning, and she's like, "Will you send me a link for that workshop that you're promoting on Instagram? I'm going to send it to the executives and to the leaders, the women
Oh,
leaders in my
yay.
company." Like, I
See?
didn't ask for that. I couldn't have networked my way into that. I couldn't have planned that.
Right.
Like, I couldn't have planned to meet this woman. I couldn't have planned to have, and we've only had like a handful of conversations. Like, she's lovely and I like her a lot, but we're not like,
Right.
it's never moved outside of the baseball park, right? Like, we're
Right.
not, that's the level of relationship. And she was like, "No, I want to share this." Those are the things that start to happen when you are a walking, talking magnet, right? Like,
Right.
that's what winds up happening. And if you ask me, ultimately, again, going back to business therapy, it's that. How is what I do for a living just an extension of who I am? Right?
Yes.
We talk a lot, like one of our favorite mantras inside of our community is living makes me money, right?
Yes.
Living my life makes me money, because and work is part of living that life. So we're not saying
Mhm.
it's not work, right? But it's, what we pour into our careers is what makes me money. When I show up present with my children, I'm aligned for opportunities. When I really pour into my spouse and my relationship and we grow
Yep.
together collectively, right? Like, our energy gets stronger, right? When I take care of my body and that mind body like soul
Yeah.
connection is strong, everything gets stronger. And I don't have to spend as much time working or getting or chasing. It just fucking shows up and I can't explain it. And I promise you, my logical sales brain doesn't like it any more than yours does.
No, I know,
Promise.
'cause you and I are both very intuitive and into energy and the law of it, like all of the universal laws,
Yeah.
but also very, very logical. And so even now, it's exactly that. Like when I can remember moments where I'm like, I'm making this decision to invest in my time, money, energy.
Yeah.
And then the money just comes in, right? And the
Yeah.
clients just come in. And I can't explain it either, other than I watch it in my life all the time and my
Right.
clients and you. And it's just cool.
Yeah. I noticed a pattern in myself, right? Where I will tell you that I want things, right? Like, I want this thing, right? But I don't yet have the funds allocated for it, or it's not something I'm ready to just be like, "Here you go, here's the money." But when I just want things, they just never tend to show up, right? But I have a pattern. Like, when I book a trip, when I book a vacation, like my mother, we booked the annual family vacation, right? My mom goes out, she books it, and she says the money is due by this date. And the money is always there.
Hmm.
Right? When I went on the
Yeah.
cruise, this closest cruise last year, right? It was like, here are the due dates, here's the things. The money was there. And it wasn't even like, "Oh my God, is it going to be like," the money was just there. But
Yeah.
how often do we like, "Well, I can't book the trip, or I can't make the investment, or I can't commit to this thing because I don't yet know where all $6,000 that's needed for that thing is right this moment. So I'm going to do nothing." And I'm not proposing going into debt or anything along those lines. But for me, it was a testament of when I said that I needed something by
Yeah.
a certain time and I made a commitment to somebody else. And I just assumed that was true. Like, I never once occurred to me that I wasn't going to go on that cruise. There was never a doubt that I was getting on that cruise ship. I was going to beg, borrow, or steal if I needed to, right? Like, Mike, the bank of mom if needed, right? Like, I was getting on that boat. And so, like I said, the money was there in more than enough, right? And to get
Yeah.
on the boat and pay for all the things in the boat and all of those ways. Whereas there's other times where I would like, "Well, we'd really like to go on, just a quick weekend away, but do we really want to drop 2 grand in a weekend? No, we won't."
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you just are like, "Well, no, this is what I'm doing and this is where I'm going, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it." So, and again, doing this with anything, I just noticed it with vacations because vacations are my love language. But
Mine
whatever that
too.
is for you, right? Like,
Yes.
and going back to what you said at the very beginning of this conversation of success takes time. It takes as much time as you tell yourself it's going to take. So if you tell
Yes.
yourself, "Okay, well, I need to have all the money for this cruise in the next 30 days," and you are no ifs, ands, or buts about it, even if it involves a calls to mom to get the money, then the money will
You'll
show
do it.
up. Yeah.
Right.
But if you say, "Oh my God, I hope the money comes in, the cruise is coming," blah, 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 and it's like, "Oh my God, I hope the client comes in because I need the client to come in by this date to pay this date because I need to close by this date because I need the money because my mortgage is due because boop,"
Yeah.
every time.
Every time.
So,
And yes, every time. And I see so many people like letting go of that time piece,
yeah.
but focusing back on the out, like what feels good. What am I doing? It's just an energy
Yeah.
difference.
Well, because I heard what you said, like, you were gonna go into outcome and you were like, "It's not even about that."
Yeah.
It's it's not about the outcome because the outcome is not up for discussion.
Right. That's
It's
it.
not up it's
Yeah.
not about the outcome because the outcome, so what I mean by that is it's not about the money or the client or the
Hmm.
opportunity. It's not about that because when you realize that, like, that's a foregone conclusion.
Right.
right? Like Sarah has a revenue goal in her bargain, like in her business right now. Like it's not up for discussion whether or not you're
Mm-mm.
going to hit that. And so once
No.
we take that off the table, then it's easier to start, okay, what do I like to do? What do I enjoy doing? What lights me up? What do I get excited about? Where do I need support to be able to do these things better, right? Like what are
Right.
the different avenues and possibilities and opportunities that I could use to create this thing? Most people go, well, I want to create that thing, but I don't know how to do that thing. So I just do nothing. And so
Right.
that's like, I think that's what you were like, want to touch
Yeah.
outcomes and you took your finger away from it for a minute. And it's like, that's why, because
Yes.
the outcome is guaranteed. So that's not the point.
Right. And I think giving your when it comes to business, I see people do, I want to make 30K a month by July.
Right.
And then they get so fixated on the time that they're not,
Right.
the energy is being put into the wrong space. Where if it's like, okay, I want to get to this revenue goal, what's the next
Yeah.
step? What's the next step? What's the next step? In reverse engineering it, you're going to get there.
Do
You're
you
just
know
going
what
to
I
get
started
there.
doing to fix this?
What's that?
Instead of being like, I want to get to this revenue mark by this date, it's just like in the last 30 days, in the next 30 days, this is how much money I make.
Oh, I do that too, actually. And it does help. And it always, there's only been like one time I haven't hit it, whether it's a low number or a high number.
Yeah.
And side note, before we move on, the vacation thing, I realized that with Evelyn, any of her acting stuff, whether we go to
Yeah.
Toronto or going to Chicago
Yeah.
in 2 weeks, it photo shoots, the classes that the events, it all can add up. LA multiple times.
Yeah.
I've never questioned if it's going to happen. But I
Right.
realized what we were starting to do, and I wouldn't question going back to Maryland every year to see my family. But I realized that it had gotten in there that we couldn't afford Mexico.
Ooh, and Mexico's your happy place.
I like remote view into Mexico every day and I can feel this exact spot. It's
Yeah.
like my soul. And so what we did is I opened a bunch of little savings accounts trying to be a better steward of money, and we just put a little bit in automatically each month or each week, and the fund for Mexico is growing. And the
Well, yeah.
funniest thing is Jeremy started this side quest with Pokemon cards
I love
where
this.
he's getting free ones online, or he'll buy one for $1 and then he sells them. Some of his cards are worth like $2,000 and $4,000. And so we gamified it, and I'm like, any Pokemon money goes into the Mexico bank account. We do have a deadline because he's turning 40 in August and we're hoping to go
Okay.
then. But if not, that's okay. But
Yeah.
it's because he's enjoying it and it's fun. He's making a lot of money doing it. And
Yeah.
it's just such a good example of, like, he doesn't have any of the mental stuff up there for whatever
Yeah.
reason, and it's just he's like, "Well, of course my cards are gonna sell." And I'm like, "That's awesome." Like, he's just such a good example of that.
I
So,
love that. I love that.
yeah.
But when I'm even going to encourage you just remove the like by August, we do have a time crunch. It's just we're going to
Yeah.
Mexico. We're going to
Yes.
Mexico. We're
Yes.
going to Mexico. Like I have a vision. I have the thing I do, like my favorite mountain in Sedona. I have this beautiful visualization of all four of us climbing up it, me, Derek, and the kids. I want to take them up. Like
Oh.
Georgia's the age now where I can get her up cathedral for sure. And Davis, it will blow his mind. Oh my God, I can feel it in
Oh.
my body. Anyway, I don't know when we're going on that trip because we have a bunch of other things going on. We've got baseball and, we are doing a float trip this summer. Like it's not
Ooh.
even funds. It's time. It's where does this
Yeah.
fit? It's like, I don't know. And I don't care. I'm going to the cut. And in my visualization, I'm very intentional with the children. Like it is now. Is it in 90 days? Is it in 6 months? Is it in the winter of 2027? I don't know. But it is a
Right.
close time frame where we are going to Sedona and we are climbing that mountain. And I don't care if we take an RV there, because that's also in the vision, right? Like I don't
Oh,
care.
yeah,
Like
that
we're
is in your
climbing the
vision.
mountain.
Yes.
So whether or not we wind up, on a really cool RV trip that takes us through all those different places and Sedona's just a stop, or we do a quick trip on, we do a short weekend like I used to do with Stacy B all the time. I
Yeah.
have no clue. And I don't actually care. I just visualize it every single day. And you know that it's only a matter of time and a pretty short period
Exactly.
of time to where the logical next step will show up.
Yes.
Did I tell you how I
Yes.
booked my trip to Boise next week? I'm going to Boise next week to see
No.
Stacy.
I knew you were
Yeah.
going, but I didn't know when.
So I leave on Wednesday, and I'll tell you this, and then you can lead me wherever you want to go because we could talk for days. I'm like, shit, we've really been
We
talking for
could
15 minutes. I feel like we
I
just
know.
started. And
I
there's
know.
like 8 questions you've asked me that I didn't answer, but I don't remember what the questions
That's
are. But
okay.
let me tell you how I manifested my
Yeah.
trip to Boise.
Oh, I'm so excited for
So I
this.
had been thinking, like, I just haven't seen Stacy. And it was one of those things where like, let's get together. Let's get together. I'm busy. You're busy. And I don't know. One day I was like, I need to just go. I just need to buy a plane ticket and go. And so I go to Starbucks one day, which is out of routine for me. I don't go to Starbucks.
Yes.
I go to Sonic, but I'd
Yes.
gotten a Starbucks gift card and it was cold. And I was like, ooh, like a fun warm coffee. That sounds great. So I go to Starbucks and I come out and there is a white Jeep Wagoneer with
Ooh,
Idaho plates. And so the two things about that are irrelevant is when I went to Sedona with Stacy for a retreat she did back in 2022, I got a free upgrade to a Wagoneer and it was
ooh,
the most fun car I've ever like it was huge, it was
yes.
sexy, but it was like it's so me, right? Like it's the
Yeah.
perfect balance between masculine and feminine, right? Like it's
Right.
pretty and sexy, but it's like powerful and strong and it's so
Yes.
good. Anyway, so it's kind of a joke that whole weekend I drove that car. And then the car has Idaho plates, right? And I'm like, hmm. And so the guys who are coming out of Starbucks at the same time I am, and I'm like, are you from Idaho or is that a rental? And he was like, it's a rental, but I'm going to Boise on Sunday. And I was like, are you? So I literally like called Stacy in the car on the way home and I was like, send me your availability for April. So then I go to look at flights and Southwest is doing whatever Southwest is doing. And so flights to Boise are like $700. And
Yeah.
I don't know why. And it's something I'm working through, like getting through the price of things, like not whether or not I have the money, but like the last time I did this was $300. And now you
Yeah.
want me to pay $700 to do the thing that the last time I did this was $300. Like that's
Yes.
where it's an interesting scarcity energy that I have around it because it has nothing to do with the dollar amount. It's just last
I'm
time I
feeling that.
bought
Yeah.
this, it's like the
Yes.
anchor price thing, right? The last time I bought this,
Yeah.
it was this. And now you're telling me it's so anyway. And I was kind of annoyed by that. And then I just hopped on Google and I was like, holy shit, United flies to Boise. And at the time, flights were 500. And I talked to Derek and I organized things with my mom. I'm like, the kids, are we good? Stacy confirmed a date. And I looked, the flight was $300. It is the perfect timing. And I'm going to Boise on Wednesday.
That's amazing. I love that. That is so cool. No, I get like that with flights specifically. Like it's especially to
It's
well,
such bizarre
yeah.
behavior what happens in my body where I'm like, it doesn't matter that the money is in my bank account.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like the self-righteousness I get when it comes to airlines and flight, it just whoo, where I'm like,
But
just
you know
charge
what I
me
think
full
it
price.
is? I think it's you and I can both sense, or at least I can
Mm,
sense, and I'm wondering if this is what you can sense, that it's not just gas prices, that the airline industry is a monopoly, like all of them, and they know that they
yeah,
can do whatever they want with pricing. And then I know people who have family members that or who work for the airlines, their families can fly free on standby. And I'm like,
yeah,
well, selfishly, that should go away. Now, if somebody in my family, I would have a whole different
right.
opinion. But it's like if that went away, the cost could come there. I don't know. There's a
Yeah.
whole bunch of drama around flights for me too.
See, well, but I used to have family that worked. And so we are the people. We used to fly first class for free when I was young. Like the first time
See?
I flew first class, I was like 11.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Because my
awesome.
aunts worked, it was back in the day when Continental was
Yeah.
Continental and all the things. And maybe that's what it was. Like it was something I didn't pay for so many years because
Right.
we always flew, it was either you flew buddy or points
Yeah.
or you could borrow from. It's very different now, but
Yes.
there was a way that like we could all fly for, $400. Mom could put all four of us on a plane ticket on a plane. Right.
Right.
So,
Right.
um,
Oh, that's so
maybe
cool.
that's what it was. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, now it's just this thing where I'm like, it has nothing to do with the amount of money in my bank account and the fact that this is bullshit.
Right. Yes. No, I feel that. I feel that so hard.
It's
It's so
not
funny.
me, it's you.
Oh, that's hilarious. You know, the thought I want to kind of, as you say, I've been hearing you say it more like land the plane, literally, we just
Yeah,
talked about planes,
right.
is the main takeaway
Mm.
is, and actually, even just using travel, I realized I didn't even think it was possible for me to go to other places, but we can literally create whatever we want. And
Yes.
so if you are like trying to figure that out, Ryan's World is the place to be.
Well,
Can we wrap up with you sharing about where people can find you? And also,
yes.
I know people will listen to this after May 6th, but your upcoming workshop too.
Yes. I'm gonna add, this is interesting, this was an intuitive thought. I'm gonna add a caveat to that. It's not just you can create whatever you want, you can create whatever you want however you want.
Ooh, yes.
Because I created a lot of shit in a very gross energy. And so I think sometimes people get caught up, well, I can create whatever I want. Ryan, I have created some really cool shit and it still sucks. So, right. So it's like you can create whatever you want, however you want.
Yes. Yes.
You can choose the way that looks for you, how it shows up for you, how you spend your time. So I don't know why. It
I
just
love
felt
that.
important to share that.
No, that is really important. That's a very
Where can
important.
you find me? So Radical Ambition is the workshop that I'm teaching on May 6th. And so if you come be there live, you should. If you get this and it's after the fact and you just want the replay, it's going to be that good that I promise you should ask for it or get it. We'll make sure that that's available to you because it's really a conversation about, and I use the word radical on purpose, radical being non-tradition, right? I'm big on the definition of words, right? Radical means non-traditional. And you look at the word ambition, it's drive, like a non-traditional drive. I have a non-traditional drive.
Me
I
too.
want to do, so do you. So does almost
Yes.
everybody in my world, right? Like
Yes.
we want to do big, crazy, wild, and fun fucking things. And we want to do them exactly how we want to do them in the way that we want to do them with the people that we want to do them. And anything less hurts our heart. It hurts our soul.
Yes. Yes.
And that is Radical Ambition. So it's this 2-hour workshop where it's really reconnecting to that spark because I know I just gave you a whole lot of energy and people listening to your show might have that. I know a lot of the women who listen to mine, they haven't felt that energy in a long time, right? Like that soul
Mm,
connected. And so it's
yeah.
really about reconnecting to like, why do you do what you do? Why do you want what you want? Like, why did you start this, right? Why did you
Yeah.
choose business as your path, right? Like there's a million, you could have been a doctor. You could have been a teacher. You could have been like, there's so many things, right? Like, so this is for like women who like business is my path. It is my path. But right now, this path is kind of kicking me in the teeth. So it's
Yes.
really about how do we find that alignment? And so we're going to do it workshop style. So I'm actually coaching live in it. Like, I don't have 2 hours of content. I have about an hour's of content. And I want to really open up the dialogue because I think two things happen to high achievers is one, we wind up being the smartest person in the room all the time. And so we
Yeah.
stop getting the support that we need. So we try to solve
Mhm.
our own problems. And like you said, we're like, I'm fine, everything's fine. No, you're fucking not. Okay. Let's start there.
Yes.
And then the second thing that happens is when your goals are the biggest goals, like there's no model, right? Like there's no
Right.
model of how to do it or how other people are doing it or what has worked for them. And so that's why I really want to open the dialogue and create this two-way conversation because we tend to think it's just me. It's just me who's
Right.
feeling this way. It's just me who's having this problem. And so if I can get the women in this space to be brave and to be vulnerable and share their heart, I think that that will open up possibility for all of us because I'm a big believer
Yes.
on like the collective energy. And I think there's nothing more powerful than powerful women in a room together and the collective energy of that
Yes.
when it is from this real place of like connection and collaboration and growth. It's really, really beautiful. So
I've got chills as you're saying that.
thank you.
I love
So
that.
that's Radical Ambition.
Yeah.
Sarah will have a link to that. And then TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. I hang out in all the places. It's Ryann Gillen. It's at Ryann Gillen Official on TikTok and Instagram. And then just Ryann Gillen on Facebook. The Uncensored Self podcast is where you can find me. And that's getting a rebrand this year too. So just if you have to
Yeah.
just go to your podcast and search for Ryann Gillen,
Mhm.
and you will find that. So I
Yes.
am everywhere all of the time. I'm the type of person that, and I mean this when I say it, like there's never been a time in my business and no amount of money I was making that it was an assistant answering my messages. Not to say there wasn't an
Oh, yeah.
assistant in my inbox, but that there was an assistant answering my messages. So if you feel called to reach out and connect, please do that. Whether it's email
Yes.
or on social, connection is one of my highest values. So I
Yes.
really enjoy connecting with people.
I love that. Yes, you're one of the 3 podcasts, you and Allie Brown are 2 of my daily, weekly podcast people, so
Mm.
definitely go check it out. The last thing I wanna say before we wrap up is the other thing, just one last I don't know why I'm guided to say this, but the other thing you've done for me that you do for the women around you is you encourage us to think even bigger, like, right? And I think
Mhm.
that's part of radical ambition too is like, "Oh, I have enough," or "This is good."
Right.
But what if it was here? And there's nothing wrong with wanting more. So if you're
Yes.
feeling that, this is Ryan's body of work is the place to be. So
Thank you.
so thank
Thank
you
you.
for coming on. I feel like I want to talk with you about AI. I want to talk with you about a
Yeah.
bunch of other stuff. So I'll have you back on again and I want to talk
Perfect.
about intuition and all the things. But
Beautiful.
yeah, I'll have all the links below and thank you for joining me.
Yes. Thank you for
And thank
having
you
me.
everybody for listening. Yay.